Virtual events can be awesome. I'm gonna give you 5 keys to make it happen. See, virtual events can be awesome. And I'm gonna share 5 keys that's gonna make that happen for you. You might have your folks that got together live and now they can't get together in person, or that's just the nature of your business, is you're always putting on virtual events. These are the 5 keys that we stick to every time we stage something awesome. We wanna make the confetti fall. Right behind me on this screen, you'll see confetti falling from the sky. We want that excitement, that connection, that moment. And when you can get these 5 keys heading together in conjunction, you will have an awesome virtual event. And you'll feel a little bit like that. Now, there's this moment in Toy Story 1 where Woody and Buzz are about to get on this rocket ship and take off, and he's about to light the rocket, and then this truck comes by with its wind and totally blows out the match. And then Woody has this moment where he looks at the match and you can almost see it in the movie. He's saying, "What happened?" I feel that way when we take an event from a live perspective to a virtual perspective. There are some key things you can put in place to give your event CPR. You could cancel your event, you could postpone your event, or you could just simply reimagine your event. And really that's what this virtual key is all about. These 5 keys I'm gonna give to you are gonna help you have that new day, new perspective mentality, because we all must approach life but there's a new day and there's a new perspective. So I want this video to really serve you as we talk about the 5 keys to awesome virtual events. Because see, this is me standing on a stage, and usually in a room with a lot of people, or has traded in for this, it's behind a camera and in a room just like this. But how can we elicit that same emotion, that same connection of what's happened in the audience? See, on March the 1st, 2020, this is what our studio looked like. Where I'm standing right now, it looked just like this, with a bunch of sound equipment and things we would take places to put on a live experience. It transitioned to looking like this, which is me standing in a studio with cameras and switchers and engagement, and taking these 5 keys that I used even in this video, even this live presentation, of what you're gonna learn that you can deploy with what you're up to. Because Yoda said it best. He said, "Do or do not, there is no try." I don't want you to try this, because these brands on the screen, they're not trying it. Ritz-Carlton, Apple, Pixar, the other great innovative brands that are out there, they're always finding ways to innovate and to change the things they're already doing. There's other brands like these that I love so deeply that didn't quite innovate in the areas that they could. So the question is, are you a brand that's gonna make the transition from live to virtual? Because here are the 5 keys to awesome virtual events. Let's dive into them. Number 1 is engagement. Now, engagement is a word we hear a lot in corporate culture, but it's important when it comes to events to engage with intentionality. That's the music that you play. That's the questions that you ask. That's the way you make people, when they're live, feel like they're the only person in the room, and they sort of forget about everything else. And there are systematic ways you can do this, through an interactive game, through making people smile, through bringing people on camera that was unexpected. There's ways to engage the hearts and the minds. And there's a great story about this. Hugh Jackman, in this movie called The Greatest Showman, has this moment where he's tucking his daughter into bed at night, and he had just purchased this wax museum and it wasn't working. And his daughter said, "You need something that's alive. You need something that's sensational." And the light bulb went off, and he realized it wasn't just about opening the building, or it's not about us just having a virtual event. It's about, how do I engage the hearts and minds of the people that are there? Which is why he created the circus and did all the beautiful things that he did from that moment. Now, there's a theory behind this. We call it the elevate engagement theory. There's 3 parts of it: energy, community, and connection. Energy is the amount of energy you bring through the camera. There's a way to bring energy, even though you're not with somebody in person. You want to make sure that you're bringing that energy, that excitement, the context of your voice, the way you're looking directly at the camera, the way you're bringing that energy, the appropriate nature of what you're trying to say, making sure that that's there. The community that you're building with each other is maybe on a platform you can break people into groups and they can connect or have that community with each other. And then connection is actually to the brand itself. It's connecting to your message. So community is connecting with each other. Connection is connecting to the actual brand or what you're saying, and then the energy is the appropriate amount you're bringing. So think about that. Key number 1 is the engage with intentionality. Number 2 here is preparation. We all know that preparation precedes success. And here's a few things you need to think about when it comes to preparation. Is the tech. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but the technical side of things, talking about Wi-Fi and platform and where you're sending folks, you need to really be thoughtful about that and making sure it's secure for the network that you're using, that you're able to have that platform make sense. And the run through is big too, is having a run of show, an agenda, if you will. Have it minute by minute, what's scheduled, what's planned, even the unplanned moments or the engaged question moments, make sure you have that there as well. The next one is timing. How much time do you have? How do you let somebody know if they've gone long? How do you have maybe a text message to someone to give them an alert they've gone a little bit long or they're up next? Making sure you have somebody that's thinking about the timing of your event. The branding. What's up on the screen? Is someone sharing their screen? What is the brand of your event? What are you trying to accomplish there? And making sure that that aligns with the company that you're representing. The invites. As that goes out, there's a way to have custom invites to make sure that even from the invitation to the party, that they're feeling connected to what you're wanting to accomplish. And the content itself, making sure that's on point. The exact same thing is from the invite to the platform to the content and making sure that's there. And then the biggest one is to know the platform. What are the capabilities? Is it chat? Is it polls? Is it interaction? Can you break the rooms apart? Making sure you understand the platform, particularly if you're leading the event, making sure that one of those keys is on point and that you know that platform. So that's preparation. Now I mentioned the word platform, that's actually one of our keys. It's key number 3, is to really understand is, where are you inviting your people? What are you inviting them to? Do they need to go to a certain browser? Do they need to have a certain level of Wi-Fi? What are you inviting them to, and does it make sense? My best advice is to have 3 or 4 people that are actually going to your event a couple hours before, even days before, and making sure intuitively that it makes sense. We send out screenshots of how it actually looks to turn on your camera, turn on your sound, using headphones, making sure you're sitting in a quiet place, doing all you can to think about where you're inviting people to, so it can be a collective deep breath when they arrive, that it just makes sense and it's intuitive. I'm amazed that folks don't necessarily think about the platform side of things and where you're inviting them. Here's a few the platforms we use: Zoom, Easy Webinar, GoToMeeting, WebEx, Microsoft Teams. There's a lot of them out there, a lot of great platforms to be used, but each one of them have nuances that are different. Each one of them have ways you can engage your people, just making sure whichever one you choose or whichever one that you're on, you understand how it works and you can talk from the end user's perspective. The next one here, key number 4, is talent/content. Who's on the screen and what's the message? I've been on a lot of virtual events, virtual meetings where it just is not awesome because the person is not connected to what you're talking about. So making sure there's a call before the call, there's a detailed email, there's a conversation that happens, that when you're on the screen, hey, here's the messaging. Here's some things we want to make sure that we get across at this meeting. And make sure they have their camera positioned the right way. Make sure you can hear their voice. Every time we lead a virtual event, we actually bring the talent on the screen early to make sure it's properly focused, make sure they're on point with what they're saying, and we even go back to the basics. And I'm amazed that when I just go back to, hey, what time is the event today? And someone inevitably will say 3 o'clock and it was really 3:30 or vice versa. So making sure that you have that talent that's on point and make sure they know what they're saying. Now, virtual content stems from these 3 steps. So the content you're sharing should be to draw it up first. Make sure you're actually writing down the key points, what you're saying. You want to draw people in with your content. You just don't want to talk at them. You want to draw them in, draw their hearts and their minds in, and then you want to draw it out. So you must draw it up, draw them in, and draw it out. That's a great way to create content from a virtual event perspective. And make sure when you draw it out, the follow-up emails, the next meeting, that's all congruent and it all connects to what you're attempting to do. And so we've got engagement, preparation, platform, talent/content. This last one, dun dun dun, technology. I love technology, right? Napoleon Dynamite. I love that moment of that movie. Technology is tricky. Technology should not be something that intimidates us, but we know that technology has 2 sides to it. It's what you're putting through the airwaves and what they're receiving as well. You can only control what's on your side of things, not what's on their side of things. But you can ask some questions to make sure they have the best possible scenario in place to receive the message you're communicating. Try to hardwire your laptop as much as possible. Ethernet versus Wi-Fi is always a beautiful thing. Making sure notifications are turned off. Making sure that they've logged on before the meeting so they know. Have 5 to 7 minutes before your meeting or your event to make sure that folks are there early and they can engage with the content there. So making sure you know technology has 2 sides to it. And I go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. When I'm hosting an event virtually, I say, listen, we could have the whole internet go down. There could be technological things where you need to refresh your browser or check your headphones. Just know we're gonna do all we can from our end to give you a great experience. We want you on your end to make sure you're doing all you can to join with us. It's a partnership. At a live event, you can sort of pull some things off and it doesn't necessarily matter as much. When you're in technology land, if things get cut off, they're gonna blame you first. So I just like to say that out loud, that there's 2 sides of this technology thing. Dick Fosbury, who jumped over the bar backwards at the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City, he was the first one to jump over the bar backwards. It's called the Fosbury flop. And he did this because he knew he could jump higher if he just did it differently. Well, he was seen as a novelty that didn't know what he was doing, and everybody else jumped over with their chest first, and he was looked at as kind of weird until he won the gold medal. Until people said, wow, there's actually a different way we could do this. And so these 5 keys to awesome virtual events, if you take all of them into place, you can jump over the bar backwards and actually do something that is actually awesome. We have clients all the time that are hiring us, and we take these 5 keys and look step by step at every single event that we're doing and making sure they're on point. Now, I want to challenge you. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you click below and subscribe. Hit that bell notifications for the new things we have coming out. We are doing our very best across the board to equip every single event planner, culture creator to put on something awesome for their team so they can connect their hearts, their minds, and their profits, their bottom line, to that impact there. So thank you for tuning in to the Elevate Experiences YouTube channel. I hope these 5 keys to awesome virtual events will help you in your journey. Thanks.